So we're going to talk about acting as a career, as a profession, as an art. It is all of those things. Okay? Acting is obviously something that's valued in this society. I can say that because generally in our society, we tend to value things according to what things are paid, how much you make for doing that particular job. That's one way that we can sort of assess how much a society values a particular profession. And I mean, it's not the only way. Obviously, firemen are sort of notoriously underpaid, but I think most people have a lot of respect for firemen. Okay? But as far as the acting profession is concerned, the people at the top of the field in the acting profession make about as much money for one day of work on a film as the President of the United States makes for a year of work. Okay? So that does give you some indication that what they do attracts a lot of people to their work, since they're making that money $12 at a time as people come to their movies. Okay? That's a lot of backsides in theater seats or in front of videos, etc. So there's something fascinating about acting, obviously, because people are watching that as opposed to watching something else or doing something else. Okay? Obviously, there's a lot of different choices for entertainment, and one of those things that's a big choice for a lot of people is motion pictures and television, as well as theater, which is by no means small either. In fact, more people attend live theater, and I'm talking about live professional theater, watching actors who are paid professionals, than attend live football games, for example, or live basketball games. Obviously, a lot of people watch football and basketball on television, but a lot of people watch those same actors that are in live theater on television as well. So, acting as a profession does command attention in the society, without a question. I guess my question to you guys would be, why do you think that is the case? Why is it that the top film actors attract so much attention that they make $20 million a picture? I mean, what in the world are they doing that is so fascinating? And that's sort of an open question to any of you. What is it about acting that compels people? What compels you to it? Why do you watch it? How about you? What do you think?
Why do I watch movies?
I mean, good acting, bad acting. What is it that attracts you to it? What does fascinate you? I mean, do you watch theatrical films?
Yeah.
Why?
Never really thought about it, actually.
Now's the time. You're in college.
I don't know, just, it's like real life. It's like real.
It seems real?
Yeah.
So good acting, good acting, in your opinion, is an actor that seems realistic. Okay? So that definitely is something that is something that now I think a lot of us would agree. How many people would agree that you want to see an actor seem extremely natural? You don't want to know that they're acting when they're there. Almost every single person in the class. Okay. I would say that's actually a style. Okay? But I would agree with you. It is the hallmark of American cinematic acting. Right? And it is a hallmark of contemporary American cinematic acting. In other words, if you would have looked at earlier cinematic acting, 1930s, 1920s, you would have seen more bombastic performances. You would have been more aware of somebody performing. Okay? Go ahead. You want to build on that?
Yeah, I feel like people enjoy watching other people's problems. Do you notice that acting is an issue that's going on in their story, and other people enjoy watching other people's stories and problems?
Interesting. So they enjoy it in what way, would you say?
They find it entertaining.
Entertaining? I think there's even a better word. Go ahead.
like me specifically, like
Or build on,
well, what you said, like to feel like I think it's more specific that you want to feel like emotions that you could, like I mean things that you couldn't do in your life. Like I'm 19, I go to Bridgewater State, but like I don't know what it's like to be the last man on earth unless I watch Will Smith and I Am Legend, or like what's it like to lose a daughter if I watched Mystic River and I saw.
but you know something about loss.
Exactly. So it's like, I think it like brings you to a different world almost. Like you're able to experience something. That
So there is an element of escapism, and an actor can help you do that by being natural, but also by being someone you can identify with, maybe, to some extent. Okay? You'll see actors like Tom Hanks. There are actors in the world who are what we would consider super pretty people. Okay? You know, Bond men, for example, Pierce Brosnan men or whatever, and what was the other? Sean Connery. You know what I mean? They're so like raw that like they're almost like you can't quite identify with them. Whereas somebody like Tom Hanks, you know, he's not a bad-looking guy, but he's hardly like
He's normal.
he's sort of a normal guy, right? In a weird way, and so I think people have a tendency to identify with him a little more because he is sort of kind of at more normal level. Okay? So that identifying with him, and I think that builds on what you're saying, the word I'm thinking of is a catharsis. There's a cathartic experience of being able to be so wrapped up in something that is emotionally compelling that you actually go through those emotions with the person. Is that right? And in doing that, you might actually more fully experience something that maybe you've been hanging on to. Right? Maybe you felt sad. How many people have gone to a film and they knew that they kind of felt sad, but then when they saw the film, they were just crying their freaking eyes out? All the girls have their hands up and not a single guy. And you know what, guys? If you had your hands up right now, you would be on your way to getting a date. Okay? I can't express, you know, take the advice of an old middle-aged guy, or what some people might consider an old middle-aged lecher. Yeah. Okay? Right. Like, hands up when that kind of, okay, that's not funny. Carl, dude, this material you wrote for me, it sucks. Thanks a lot. Okay, it just makes me look like an idiot. So anyway, yes, that is that kind of purging of your emotions, okay? Again, you said, yes, you've never lost your daughter, but you have felt loss. Okay? You felt all of these things. Excitement, adrenaline rush, whatever. Maybe you weren't the last man on earth, but you can imagine yourself in that situation, confronted with whatever it is you're confronted with. You have a frame of reference. It's just taken, it's heightened. Okay? And so that heightening is something an actor does. And in other words, an actor, yes, they have to be natural, but they also have to be expressive. Am I correct? I mean, we have to see something happen to them. If they're just totally like dead meat up there, and no matter what comes at them, they never have any reaction, well then you've got Arnold Schwarzenegger. Am I correct? You know, who always was better at playing a machine, right? Because it was just like the same thing always happened to Arnold. But all of a sudden, when he found the perfect role, he became a machine. You're like, dude, you were born to be a machine. It's perfect for you. Or the governor of California, whichever you wish. So, we need them to be expressive. Now, expressiveness has kind of taken a bit of a back seat to naturalism lately, and part of that is because the dominant medium for super successful actors is television and film, where expressiveness, you don't have to be terribly expressive when the shot's like this, okay? I mean, as long as something's going on inside that the camera can recognize, and the camera is often described as like, I've heard the camera described as being like the best, worst girlfriend ever. Like, can totally tell if there's something going on with you, and can smell your lie like a mile away. Okay? So it's like one of those situations that if you really are where in the moment it's really going on for you and the camera's in close, you're in business. You're going to seem like a genius. But if you're really not there and you're just going through the motions, the camera is just going to expose you as a terrible, terrible fraud. Okay? So that kind of intensity, I've also heard film acting described as more like working with a laser and less like working with a scalpel, is just a function of the medium. Okay? So we have acting. It has a couple of different components. The one that we really haven't talked about is sort of impersonation. What is that thing about being somebody else? Has anybody in this class ever done it? Outside of acting, has anybody in this class ever pretended to be someone else? Okay? Go ahead, give me an example.
Halloween.
Yeah, Halloween, which is the big acting experience that everybody's involved in, right? My little boy is like 2.5. He's talking about it already. He's going to be Spider-Man. I'm going to be Iron Man. It sometimes goes back and forth, you know. And so it's fascinating, isn't it? People are fascinated with impersonating someone else, being someone else, stepping into somebody else's life. Right? Go ahead.
When you were little, you always pretend to be like a firefighter and stuff like that.
Bingo. It's one of the things you do in the sandbox, right? A little kid maybe they become an animal, right? And I remember doing children's theater in New Orleans, of all places, and the weirdest reality with little kids, like they so believe you, okay? I was a cow. I played a cow in Jack and the Beanstalk, one of my first professional paid acting jobs. I look back on it fondly now because I was actually paid a hell of a lot more than I make in some of the professional theater in Boston. I don't want to talk about that, but nevertheless, not that I'm bitter. So yeah, I was a cow, okay? And one of the things that I did was hide in the crowd of kids. And so I'm running away from the giant, hiding in the crowd, and I plop down next to one of these little kids, and the little kid is just totally intense, and he's like afraid for me, and he says, "Take off your horns." And I'm like, "Take off my horns?" He's like, "Take off your horns, and then you can get away from the giant." And I'm like, "Okay, so wait a second, kid. So you totally are afraid for me, but and somehow are totally into the story, but somehow at the same time know that I'm actually not a cow?" I'm like, I'm lost. Like, what version of reality do you have here, you know? So but that's exactly, kids get completely wrapped up. If you're playing with kids sometimes and you pretend to be like a tiger or something, and they're like, a cheetah, and all of a sudden you run away and cry.